one error. Okay, so I guess, Carrie, do you have any questions for me from assignment 4? The answer is probably no, because you went ahead to 5. You're good?
Yes.
Okay. I am going to do the examples for lesson 5 then, okay? It's purchasing a used vehicle. We talked about buying a new car, right? Jean, do you want to see if you could close the blind, close the door in the blind?
Okay.
So, buying a new car is expensive. I'm just gonna try this one. So yeah, that's better. Buying a new car is expensive, so quite often people may want to try purchasing a used vehicle, okay? So purchasing a used vehicle is a little cheaper, but we just have to, again, be cautious of the taxes. So the taxes change. One of the reasons used vehicles are a good idea is because they are a used vehicle, so they're a little more cost effective, but you don't get charged. If you purchase a used vehicle from a private seller, you only have to pay one tax, the PST, and not the GST. If you buy anything from a dealership, you have to pay both taxes. Okay, so that's the big thing to remember, right? A used car from a dealer, we pay both taxes. A used car from private is charged PST only. Okay, so just remember that this is the same chart as before. They've just reprinted it. So I'll let you. We've already looked at it and we've kind of discussed this a moment ago. So let's take a look at the examples, okay? So example 1, purchasing a new vehicle, purchasing a used vehicle from a dealer. All right, so if we look at the example, Ken goes to a used car dealership in Dauphin to buy a used car. The sticker price is $4,500. Calculate the final cost of this car after taxes, okay? So, this is, the big thing to remember is this is a used vehicle, right? That means it's, but it's a used vehicle from a dealership, okay? This means both taxes are charged. Okay. So what we do is we take the sticker price and multiply by 1.12, okay? So 4,500 times 1.12.
5,040.
Perfect. Okay, that's the cost of the car. So it really is quite simple, right? What about buying a used car privately, right? This was from a dealer, this is privately. Jacob finds a used car on Kijiji and pays the seller $6,500. When Jacob goes to AutoPack, the agent tells him the book value is $6,850, okay? So this is really important. Book value is the actual value of the car. Now, sometimes we end up paying less for the car than book value. Sometimes we're really good negotiators and we can talk the seller down of the price. Sometimes maybe we're buying from a family member, right? If it was your uncle or brother selling you a vehicle, they might sell you it at a really cheap cost. But AutoPack still wants the appropriate amount of tax. Does that make sense? So AutoPack will always collect the tax on the higher amount. Okay, so usually book value is the higher amount because quite often we can negotiate a lower price. Sometimes the price we pay is higher than book value. Maybe it's a car that you fell in love with. It's only worth $7,000, but you just love it, so you might pay a little more than $7,000. You have to pay tax on the larger amount. So that would be not on book value, but what you paid for it. Okay. Usually it's the other way around though. Book value is more than what we pay. So just remember that. And it says here, this is worth highlighting on your chart. When you're buying used, PST is always calculated on the greater of the book value or purchase price. So let's move here. State the amount of money that Jacob pays to the seller. Okay, the seller wants, it says right here, he pays $6,500 to the seller. So that's how much he pays to the seller. How much PST will he be charged though? The amount of PST is, I have to take the book value times, okay, what's PST? It's 7%, right? So it's 6850 times 0.07, 479.50 is the amount of PST charged. And this is something to remember all the time, right? That PST is charged on the larger of book or selling price. Okay. Determine the total amount he pays for the car. This is a little tricky because you have to remember he only paid $6,500 and he paid PST on a larger amount. So this is the selling price and this is the PST on the book value because it was larger than the selling price. So when I do that, I get 979.50. So there's lots of things to consider when you purchase a car because there could be so many additional costs associated, like you can have extra items that you want to add to your car. You might have to do a safety inspection. You might have to do a lien search. So there's lots of extra things. And that's why you're given that table, the table that you see on page 20, and that will be given to you on the test and the exam, by the way. So always when they're talking about questions involving cars or vehicles, always just have that table in front of you so you can answer the questions appropriately regarding the amount of tax charged. So for example 3, it says Phil wants to buy a used car. He takes it for a safety inspection, which costs him $60 plus tax. Determine the final cost of the safety inspection after taxes. What does it say for taxes? Adolphine, what does it say for taxes for check? For a safety. Just from the chart on page 20. So no PST, GST, okay? So GST is 5%, right? So GST is 5%, let's not forget that. So it's going to be $60 times, if I want the full amount, I'll add the 1.05, which is $63. Okay. Let's try the next. So they're just doing all the extra things that you could encounter in purchasing a vehicle, right? Purchasing a used, you could buy used from a dealer, used privately. We've done safety. You already know how to do materials and labor, so let's try the lien search. So a lien search can be run on a used car that you might suspect still has money owing. Although this is uncommon, a relatively inexpensive search can make sure there's no lien on the car. This is important because if you purchase a car with a lien, you can end up having to pay the person that has a claim on the car, okay? So let's do lien search. You're interested in purchasing a used car, but you're unsure about the seller. You want to conduct a lien search. You visit the property registration page and find out that a lien search costs $14 if you want a paper copy and $10 for an electronic version. Why is it cheaper to get electronic than paper?
Sorry?
Because you're paying for the cost of the paper?
Yeah, you're paying for the paper. And probably the printer ink and all that stuff too, right, Carrie?
Yeah.
Because they actually have to print it off. Okay, you opt for an electronic report. Use the tax rates to determine the cost of a lien search. Okay, what does it say for lien searches? No PST, no GST, so it's just a straight $10, right? Cost will be $10. So really, these aren't difficult. These just require going to the chart and reading the right categories, right? Off the chart, find the right spot. Let's try putting it all together. Clarence is going to buy a used car from a coworker. He'll pay the asking price of $13,200. He wants to perform a lien search, and he needs to have the car safetied. If the book price of the car is $12,000, calculate the total amount he'll pay for the used car. So there's a lot going on here, right? First of all, it's buying used from a coworker. What does that tell us? Buying used from a coworker. That's called buying used privately, right? So no GST, PST is charged on the greater of book value or purchase price. Well, which one was greater? Book value or purchase price? The $13,200, that's the purchase price, right? So PST is charged, PST will be charged on the purchase price. Of $13,200. Whoops, $13,200. Okay, so $13,200 times 0.07 sorry, 13,200 times 0.07. I guess I could have added the 1 in front of it, right? 924, thanks, Carrie. So that's the amount of PST. Lien search, $14. There's no PST or GST charged on that, right? We just learned. So that's just a straight $14. That's the lien search. Safety, what did they say about the safety again? Safety, no PST, just GST. Okay, so I guess the car safety plus GST.
You're adding that research, you add it?
Yep, because it's a cost to you, right? If you want one done, you have to pay for it. So it's going to be $75 times 1.05. I could have added a 1 in front of this too, right? Maybe I'll do that. I'm going to go backwards and change something.
How did you get the 1.05?
Well, GST is 0.05, right?
Oh.
And if I wanted to do the quick way, I'm going to do the quick way up here too. I'm going to go backwards and redo this one, if that makes sense. The reason I can redo it on this time is because it is on the book value, right? Or on the purchase price. I don't know. I could leave it off as well. I don't know. So 13,200 times 1.07, that gives me 14,124. And then the 75 times 1.05 gives me 7875. If you didn't do it this way, but you itemize things separately, just leave it because you're going to get the same answer as me. 14216.75. Is that what you got, Jane?
Yes.
You just have to really always consult the table because they all have different taxes that are applicable to them, right? We saw that the safety only has GST. The purchase price only has PST. The lien search has neither, right? It's just all over the place regarding tax, so you really have to have that page open. That's it. Do you agree with all these, Carrie? Yeah, okay. So now I'm going to give you time to work on assignment 5. There's lots of questions to practice. So Jane and I are here. We almost can, it's almost a one-on-one situation, right?